I'm your host Hunter, and today we have Mollie. Romance series tend to follow a certain route. Romantic comedies don't differ from this trope, as Mollie and I can attest. Several shows gone through like that. Toradora, however, takes the same old story and wraps it up in such a way that it can be its own thing without relying on others. Today we cover the adventures of the dragon and the tiger trying to get along while it tugs on our heartstrings. Most romance stories follow a certain list of cliches. You'll see it the normal route, they're in high school, and you see the two characters and you definitely know they're going to get together. We have our main character, Ryuji, trying to convince people that he isn't some thug due to his scary demeanor. Upon arriving at school, however, he accidentally bumps into Isaga Taiga, the palm-top tiger, as you can tell from her short stature compared to the rest of the cast. From there, fighting ensues and leads to a misunderstanding of a lifetime. With the help of the other, Taiga will help Ryuji get with her friend Minarin, while Ryuji will help Taiga get with his friend Kitamura. Following along so far? Good. Proceed with high school romantic drama.
Okay, so our show focuses on 5 main characters. Our first character, as Hunter is holding, is our infamous palm-top tiger, Miss Taiga. So she is our standard tsundere character. She has a hard outer shell, comes off very abrasive, but in the end, she has a very, very soft center. As she develops, when you first meet her, she's really selfish. She has the idea, strike first to protect yourself. But as the story progresses, she kind of warms up to people a little bit, and you realize she goes from selfish to selfless. Even though she's really little, she has a big heart in the end. Next, we have Ryuji. He's Taiga's neighbor, and as the Hunter said before, he's a thug. And this story kind of centers around him, and he has to learn that his scary looks, his eyes that he inherited from his father, do not define him. Just because he looks like a thug, that doesn't mean he is. And he goes to school, he learns to make friends, and it's all about him learning to manipulate friendships, to learn how to just be a group, be part of a group. Then we have Minari. She is your classic go-getter girl who is always busy with something. She has like 5 jobs, she is head of sports, always keeping everybody laughing. And you love that girl. But her arc is just because she laughs and keeps everybody happy doesn't necessarily mean she's the happiest one. Then next we have Kitamura. He's your nerd, but he's also Mr. Popular. Successful in everything. All the ladies love him, but he's completely oblivious to it. He's also the student council vice president. And for him, he's very goal-oriented, a hard worker. But his arc is he has to go through and learn what exactly is his main goal in life. When he starts to lose that, he goes a little crazy for a little bit. But then he finds it, and he becomes much steadier. Overall, this character probably has the least amount of arc, in my opinion. Then last, we have Ami. She is Kitamura's old childhood friend. She's a model, and she's the girl you love to hate. She is perfect. All the guys fawn over her. And to most people, she has this sweet demeanor. But then behind people's backs, she can just pull her claws out. She and Taiga actually have an interesting relationship. They're so different, and they hate each other. But by the end of it, they kind of get into this working love-hate relationship that's quite interesting. Ami has the biggest arc in this. You find out when she first comes, she had to transfer in to another school. And she's kind of been forced to grow up way too fast. So now she's trying to figure out how to fit in with kids her age and yet kind of help them along. She's the more mature one in some ways. She's very insightful and can kind of guide them. And she knows what's going on, whereas sometimes the other characters don't. The best thing about this TV show is that the writers, with this, you have your two main characters, and you think, oh great, it's high school, they're gonna get together. But then you have these three other characters, and they start forming this, like, little love pentagon, I guess?
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, oh, I think he's gonna end up with her. Oh, but wait, they're gonna end up over there. And so they really keep you guessing on who's gonna end up with who in a great way. And as the characters develop more and get deeper, it just becomes more complicated and more convoluted in the best possible way.
Animation is about subpar for this series. It fits the standards but doesn't go much past it. Some scenes later on in the series improve in quality due to the crescendo but recede back to normalcy later on. It knows when it needs to be important. Music is about the same thing, with the exception of one track. The song Lost My Pieces, which is playing right now, is one of the best pieces in my opinion in the entire show. It manages to capture the emotion of the scene and can bring tears to your eyes, which it did to both of us a lot. So.
Oh, I was bawling my eyes out. The feels. But for me, I definitely enjoyed the animation. I thought it was really good. It all seemed very smooth. It never jumped out as too much or too little. It paired well with music and you could always tell emotions. It was really cute. You could tell when they're angry, you could tell when they're happy. It just made you smile a lot.
For the dub versus sub war and all that, I am fine with both. But in some cases, the dub in this case is better. With the voice talent of Cassandra Morris as the voice of Taiga, it manages to capture more of the tsundere elements than her Japanese counterpart. I can't say that for a fact because I'm not native-born Japanese speaker, but in the English, I could tell when Taiga was being, I don't like you, but, you know, here's the stuff. I could tell more when she was emotional. So.
Yeah, for me, Kushiera, the friend that Ryuji likes, was perfect in both English and in Japanese. Happy, peppy, you could tell in the voice, inflection. Next, Ami and Kinomura were okay. They were a little, I guess, two-dimensional for their overall arching, this is their characteristic, it was fine. But when Ami's like sweet to all of a sudden her claws are out, it was hard to tell a transition. Then for Ryuji and Taiga, I definitely enjoyed the English more than the Japanese. Taiga was a little too old. And same with Ryuji, because Ryuji, the great thing about the English is he's supposed to be tough, thug looking, and he's the more matronly and has not necessarily an effeminate voice, but just softer, where the Japanese had a more harsher tone to it. And Taiga, again, like Hunter said, in the English it was much easier to see almost two different types of personalities and her warring with, I need to be mean and I can't show any of my emotions. But I'm really genuine in this moment. It was much easier to tell those in the English, in the inflection and everything, than in the Japanese. And again, I don't know Japanese, so maybe the inflection is great, but for watching it, English helped a lot.
Toradora manages to make the tsundere trope work, in my opinion. I, for one, don't really like this trope too much in shows. It either gets sometimes too annoying, Mac. But I was able to go along with it in this series, as Ryuji is able to complement Taiga and change her for the better. I, for one, give this rating a buy it, but only a buy if you can tolerate the tsundere obnoxiousness as it can get to some people and annoy them. I'm going to poke fun at Mac and Nick again, so.
Overall, I loved it. It did a great job balancing. The writers kept you engaged. The characters were ones that you could relate to in high school, in college, wherever. And so before filming this review, it had been a little while since we watched it, and we watched a couple episodes to bring it back. And I just remembered how fun it was to watch it again. So I definitely would say buy it, just so you can go back and just enjoy it again and again.
At the time of the review, Toradora is licensed by Nice America and is free to view on Crunchyroll.com. I'll put the little thing right here. Familiar of Zero, as Mollie can say, is a good recommendation if you like the tsundere trope. And for the more romantic side of the story, Place to Place manages to capture the same cuteness and heartfelt moments in a smaller time frame of 12 episodes compared to Toradora's 25. That's it for today's show. Be sure to subscribe and like us on Facebook, as well as follow on Twitter to get all the spiel of all our great stuff. So, there we go.